friends. Ailim here at Six Silver Seals, welcoming you, as ever, to Tarot Tuesday. This reading is for the 7-day period that begins on August 25th, 2020, and I actually really like where this one is headed. So we have Mercury, the Magician, now in Virgo, the Hermit, trying to retrograde Uranus, the Fool reversed. But because it's a trine and therefore an easy or favorable aspect, the Hierophant gets to be upright. The thing that I like about the astrology for this rendered in the spread the way that it is the way Uranus is here as the Fool reversed. So it's not the beginning of a totally new journey, right? We're not going into something with no foreknowledge of what's ahead. Uranus has a lot of that change for the sake of change, which kind of feels like, damn, the torpedo's full speed ahead a lot. And we get a little bit of that, that foreknowledge, a little bit of that, the way things are supposed to be done kind of thing from the Hierophant here. So you have this very interesting energy of now, not only having had all of the tools at our disposal to get something done with Mercury the Magician, but also, a sign that Mercury rules, Virgo, playing a role in making sure that we are able to kind of, internalize and process and share that knowledge properly. Because yes, the Hermit is a recluse. Does like time to him or herself. But the Hermit is also pursuing that solitude towards greater knowledge. And with the Magician, already has all the tools at its disposal to therefore go have this experience where they have some but not all of the knowledge. There is, with the Fool being here, even in reverse, there is some novelty to the experience. And lest we forget, Mercury and Uranus together always portend change. But it does feel like the beginning of a very positive shift. Again, it's about learning what one does not already know about maybe a situation with which one already has some familiarity. The past and future kind of merge a little bit here. You might, if you prefer, to think of it as a timeline shift. It certainly has that energy. So, as ever, we'll start with the draws. Virgo will be first because they are the newly ruling sun sign. And we have the Fool. And it's a little bit serendipitous. There's a lot of more of newness than familiarity about this for you, Virgo. And with the Fool here upright, canceling out the reversed Fool that is Uranus retrograde in the spread for this week, that is to be expected. You are allowed, therefore, to let your sun sign energy through, just since Mercury is possibly at this point transiting over your sun, or at the very least in the same sign as your sun. This is going to be a potent shift for you. And some of that work that you've done in past weeks that's come from the cards about stepping forth into your own power really gets a chance to shine right away to start off the season of your sun sign being the ruler again. For Libra, we have the Three of Wands. In the Thoth deck, Virtue is the name for this card. Virtue is goodness, in a particular sense, Libra. And for those of you Librans who are of a philosophical turn of mind, like I am, you will know that virtue ethics involves a golden mean, a balance between opposites. Most likely, if you know anything about virtue ethics, it probably appeals to your sensibilities a little bit, Libra. And that's sort of what I'm picking up on here, is a striving towards balance for the sake of what is good, what is consistent with your highest good. You're not embarking on a literal journey or change so much as you are restructuring your world such that the things that are good for you are allowed to continue to be good for you and to be more good for you than they've been in the past, because now you've allotted to them their appropriate time, space, and energy with which they can work. For Scorpio, we have the Knight of Discs, or Pentacles, if you like. I get the feeling, Scorpio, that this is more of a past tense kind of thing for you. The Knight of Discs is the Knight is always a messenger, but this time it's not one which is on its way, but one which is now arriving. It's just that it took him a very long time to get here. Of the four Knights, the Knight of Pentacles is the one that moves at the most sedate pace. It takes him the longest to get to you when he's coming, and now he's finally here. So this feels less like a new journey or a new enterprise, but more the expansion into a new part of the same one. Definitely feels like something to do with the material concerns, though, what with it being the Knight of Pentacles. Specifically, I get the feeling that this has to do with your career, but it could be your finances writ large, or maybe some sort of expansion project in the home, getting things rearranged so they're just how you like them. The project I spent all day doing before I started recording. But either way, getting things in order that they might advance. You are preparing the house for a very welcome guest who is very, very late in arriving. Sagittarius has the Hermit. Not an altogether unfamiliar energy. You are both mutable signs, you and Virgo. But you are both much more used to your own mutability and therefore a little bit averse to caging it. And that's kind of what the Hermit energy here feels like it's representing to me, is sort of reining in your inner fire, Sagittarius, which can be very difficult for any fire sign, but particularly for you to do. There is something which you have not yet fully internalized, not yet fully integrated, and now you are being aligned with the cosmos that gives you all the tools that you need to go ahead and finish the work of folding something that you have to internalize in, but in doing so you are being shunted into a place of solitude. And struggling against the solitude will prevent you from being able to do the work of internalizing the thing that needs internalized. For Capricorn, we have Justice. Libra, the scales. And again, just like before, the cardinal energy is not unfamiliar to you, although this is a little bit more airy and cerebral than typically you're familiar with. But this is about true equity in the real sense, fairness in the real sense. Getting your fair share, and for some reason I'm picking up on that particularly as only your fair share, not having to do or give more than is actually required of you. It is important that you step up and take this. It is important that you step up and demand this. Because this, you're never going to have another chance to get it again, but this is the opportune time to make that demand of, so I am overdoing something that I should not have to overdo. Some of this needs to come off my plate. For Aquarius, we have the Princess of Cups. With the Princess of Cups here, Aquarius, what this card symbolizes for you is that this is a period where it is time to let go of old emotional attachments. Completely. And it's especially, I get the feeling, something that is lingering, something that has clung on despite previous attempts to let it go. You're having trouble. It's difficult. And that's to be expected. Some emotional tethers run very, very deep. And to experience negative emotion through them is also a very, very deep wound. And it is time to just cut it away. It's at this point you are now aware that it is doing you more harm than good to allow that connection to remain in the hopes that it can be restored someday. And it is time to cut it loose and let it go. At least now, if you do it, it will hurt less than if you do it at any other time. You have the right tools for the job. Pisces gets the Hierophant. And that is now 3 of the 4 cards from the earlier spread. And these are friendly, if foreign energies. Pisces and Taurus Taurus is the Hierophant, don't not get along, but mutable water and fixed earth, or, there's not a ton in common there. Not that you're opposed to traditions or to, norms or that sort of thing, Pisces, but just that you're becoming aware of the ways in which they don't serve you. Which in the ways, particularly in which doing things as you've always done them, Pisces, are kind of like the trap to be escaped from here. But again, as I've said for other signs, this is a period where all the tools are at your disposal to do this work, and if you have to, do it alone. But it is there, to break out of your rut, to break out of your routine, to break out of your old habits, and just really start to get at, how can I do this differently in ways that work better for me? For Aries, we have the 9 of Wands, which is subtitled Strength. And despite the fact that this is going on in Earth signs, this is actually a really good time for those powers of self-assertion that you have, Aries, to really allow themselves to come to the fore and display what you are capable of. We still have Mars direct in our sun sign. Our ruler is Mars, for another week or two. And that is not, like I say, now is the perfect time to put that energy to work. Like I said, just really showing people what it is that we can do, what it is that we're capable of, when we're given what we need to thrive. Sometimes that means wearing an old familiar hat. Sometimes that means putting on a new one. But either way, show them what you're made of, kid. For Taurus, we have the Sun. And I really like to see this here, given that you have Uranus retrograde in your sign right now. I imagine for some of you Taurians, it's been playing a little havoc and causing lots of change for you over the last few months, and especially, over the period of years where Uranus has been in Taurus and gone retrograde. I think we're on the 3rd Uranus retrograde in Taurus, but I could be wrong about that. Either way, this one is positive. This one, it feels like, especially right now, this one feels overwhelmingly positive. It is unusually easy for you to embrace Uranus's energy and make changes. Especially for a sign that can, if we're honest, be described as obstinate. So lean in. There's no better time to make the changes you want to make, and you have all the tools at your disposal. Lean in. Take advantage of this time and this energy and get stuff done. But because you have all this energy at your disposal, what with the Sun here, be prepared to lead by example. Gemini has the 5 of Discs, or Pentacles, and this card is subtitled Worry. Now, do I think you should? Not necessarily. Mercury is also your ruler, and when Mercury is in Virgo, it's at home there. So a lot of your native mercurial energy is, or maybe I should say Mercurian energy, is available and accessible to you, but in a kind of in a slower, more solid way. Mercury in Gemini is not like Mercury in Virgo. Mercury in Gemini is moving a mile a minute. Mercury in Virgo might be moving a mile an hour. So there's a big difference in pace, but the easy familiarity of being able to solve problems and intellectualize things is there. So do I think you should worry? No. But when you feel yourself start to worry, I would start taking a very careful stock of the situation as it is rather than as you perceive it. Worry is possible, but you don't have to do it. Worry is something that can, especially for this week-long period, the tools you have can be put to worry, and it will build a nice little worry castle. You don't want to build a worry castle. Don't build a worry castle. Okay, for Cancer we have the Eight of Cups. The Eight of Cups is subtitled Indolence, which can also be translated as laziness. And that's the danger with trines, right? Especially one that's happening with you as its midpoint, Cancer, because it is going from Taurus to Virgo. It's easy with trines, which are one of the quote unquote easy aspects, to not do it because it's there. Like, that's there. I can get to that anytime I want. The problem with easy aspects, though, is that by the time you're ready, they're gone. So, like, the indolence is something that you need to struggle against. It is easy just to sit where you are. And, to a degree, I might even encourage that if where you are is comfortable and good and consistent with your highest good. But this card feels more like a warning against assuming that where you are is a place that is consistent with your highest good. This is not a week necessarily. This is a week where it's okay to put your feet up, probably towards the end once you've done the work of making sure that you can, in fact, put your feet up. But I would get there before you make that assumption, Cancer. Last of all, we have Leo. Leo has the Seven of Cups. This card is subtitled Debauch. Who doesn't love debauchery? But here, again, as sort of with Cancer, I get the feeling that this is something to avoid indulging in rather than allowing yourself to indulge in, or at least allow yourself to indulge in it once you're sure it's not going to be something that can turn on you, something that can go sour. It's great to cut loose as a recovering Dionysiac myself. It's perfectly fine to cut loose and go crazy every now and then, but it can be addictive, and it's definitely not something you should make a habit of doing. And that is Tarot Tuesday for this week. I sincerely hope that you enjoyed it. If you did, you know where to find the like button. Remember, Patreon subscribers get to see this one day early. We post it on Monday. And until next time, best of luck. Be kind to yourselves and one another.